The accusation hit like a thunderbolt across our family dinner table. "You're nothing but a fraud." Amanda, my sister-in-law, stood up, her face red with rage. "You're taking advantage of vulnerable people with your so-called therapy practice." I set down my fork, maintaining my professional composure despite the sudden attack. After 15 years as a licensed therapist specializing in teenage trauma and anxiety, I learned to stay calm in emotional situations. But this wasn't my office. This was my parents' dining room, and my own family was turning against me. My name is Olivia Parker, and at 38, I built a respected therapy practice from the ground up. My methods weren't traditional. I combined art therapy with cognitive behavioral techniques, creating a unique approach that had helped hundreds of teenagers navigate their mental health struggles. But according to Amanda, I was just a glorified scam artist. "Have you even seen her office?" Amanda continued, addressing our stunned family members. "Bean bags instead of proper chairs, art supplies everywhere. It's like a kindergarten classroom. And she charges premium rates for this nonsense." My brother Michael, Amanda's husband, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Amanda, maybe this isn't the time." "No, it's exactly the time." She pulled out her phone, scrolling frantically. "Look at these online reviews. Dr. Parker helped my daughter overcome severe anxiety through drawing." Drawing? And parents are paying hundreds for this. My mother touched my arm gently. "Olivia, sweetheart, perhaps Amanda has a point. Traditional therapy methods are more proven." I took a deep breath, remembering my own training about handling confrontation. My methods are fully accredited and have been published in several psychiatric journals. The art therapy component helps teenagers express emotions they struggle to verbalize. "Convenient excuse," Amanda scoffed. "And how many of these success stories can actually be verified? Everything's anonymous in therapy, isn't it? Perfect cover for a scam." What Amanda didn't know, what none of them knew, was that her own daughter, Lily, was one of my anonymous patients. For the past 6 months, Lily had been seeing me under a different therapist's referral, her identity protected by patient confidentiality. She'd been struggling with severe anxiety and self-worth issues, partly stemming from Amanda's relentless pressure for academic perfection. I maintain patient confidentiality because it's essential for trust and healing. I explained calmly. "My credentials and methods are fully transparent." "Right," Amanda sneered. "Hide behind your confidentiality while you rob desperate parents blind. I've been warning everyone I know about you. The school board, the local parenting groups, they all need to know what you're really doing." My father, usually the peacekeeper, finally spoke up. "Amanda, that's enough. Olivia is a licensed professional." But Amanda was on a roll. "A license doesn't prove anything. She's always been the family's golden child, hasn't she? Perfect Olivia, who got all the attention, all the praise. Now she's built this little empire of lies, and everyone just accepts it." The real reason for her attack became clear. This wasn't about my practice at all. This was about old family dynamics, about perceived favoritism and long-held resentments. Amanda had married my brother 12 years ago, and from day one, she competed with me for family attention. "I need to go," Amanda announced, grabbing her purse. "I can't sit here and watch everyone enable this exploitation. But mark my words, people will know the truth about your precious therapy practice." As she stormed out, Michael gave me an apologetic look before following his wife. The silence left in their wake was deafening. My mother broke it first. "Maybe you should consider a more traditional approach, dear. All this artistic expression, it does seem a bit unconventional." "Mom," I said firmly, "my methods work. I have years of documented success cases. But if Amanda is telling people, then they can look at my credentials, my published research, and my official success rates." I interrupted. "I won't compromise my practice because of Amanda's personal issues with me." Later that night, as I sat in my home office reviewing patient files, my phone buzzed with a text from Lily, Amanda's daughter. "Had another panic attack. Can I move my appointment to tomorrow?" I stared at the message, thinking about the progress Lily had made through our sessions. Through art therapy, she'd finally been able to express the crushing pressure she felt from her mother's expectations. Her anxiety attacks had decreased significantly, and her latest artwork showed promising signs of growing self-confidence. If only Amanda knew that her campaign against my practice was threatening her own daughter's mental health journey. But I couldn't break confidentiality. even to defend myself. Lily's healing had to come first. My phone buzzed again, this time with a notification about a negative review posted on my practice's social media page. Amanda had been busy. The review screamed. This therapist uses unproven methods to exploit vulnerable teenagers and their parents. Save your money and time. I closed my laptop, a plan forming in my mind. Amanda wanted proof. She would get it, but not in the way she expected. I had something more powerful than angry rebuttals or defensive arguments. I had 15 years of documented success stories, hundreds of transformed lives, and a professional reputation built on real results. The truth would come out, and when it did, Amanda would learn exactly why my unconventional methods had earned the trust of so many families, including unknowingly her own. The following week was a tsunami of damage control. Amanda had been thorough in her mission to discredit me. Local parenting Facebook groups were buzzing with her warnings. My practice's social media pages were flooded with negative comments, and I received concerned calls from several parents. But what truly broke my heart was watching Lily during our next session. She sat in her usual spot, clutching her sketchbook, her anxiety visibly worse than it had been in months. "Mom's been on this crusade," she confided, her hands shaking as she drew. "She doesn't know I'm here, but she keeps talking about this terrible therapist who's scamming everyone. Every time she mentions it, I feel like I can't breathe." I maintain my professional demeanor, despite the pain of watching my niece suffer because of her mother's vendetta. "How does that make you feel, Lily?" She pressed her charcoal so hard against the paper it snapped. "Angry, scared. The art therapy has been helping me so much, but now I feel guilty for keeping it secret. What if Mom's right? What if I'm being stupid thinking drawing can help me?" "Look at your progress journal," I suggested, pulling out the portfolio of her work from the past 6 months. "What do you see?" Together, we flipped through her artwork. The early pieces were dark, chaotic, visual representations of her anxiety attacks. But as the weeks progressed, light began appearing in her drawings. Colors emerged. Structure formed. It was a clear, documented journey of healing. "I see it," Lily whispered, touching a recent piece. "I'm getting better." That evening, I received an unexpected visit from my brother Michael. He looked exhausted, the strain of being caught between his wife and sister evident on his face. "Amanda's escalating," he warned, accepting the coffee I offered. "She's convinced the school board to review their referral program with your practice. She's talking about filing formal complaints." I set down my own cup. Why isn't she here having this conversation herself? Michael sighed. "You know, Amanda, once she believes something, there's no talking to her." And he hesitated. "I think this is about more than your therapy methods. It's about Mom and Dad always supporting my career choices while questioning hers," I finished. Amanda had wanted to be a child psychologist herself years ago, but our parents had discouraged it, suggesting teaching instead. They fully supported my therapy aspirations just 2 years later. "Exactly," Michael nodded. "But Olivia, some of these parents are taking her seriously. They're starting to question your methods." I walked to my filing cabinet, pulling out a thick folder. "These are testimonials, Michael. Real results, documented progress, official studies validating my methods. Art therapy isn't new or experimental. It's a recognized therapeutic technique." "I know that, but..." And here, I continued pulling up my practice's statistics on my laptop. Our success rates, 87% of our teenage patients show significant improvement within 6 months. That's higher than the national average for traditional talk therapy alone. Michael studied the numbers, his expression thoughtful. "Have you shown these to Amanda?" "She doesn't want to see them. She wants to believe I'm a fraud because it fits her narrative about me getting special treatment." Just then, my phone buzzed. Another text from Lily. "Mom's organizing a parent meeting at our house tomorrow. She's inviting all her friends with teenage kids to expose the truth about art therapy." I showed Michael the message, watching his face fall. "This has to stop," he said quietly. "But how?" I thought about Lily's progress portfolio, about all the other teenagers who found their voice through art when words failed them. About the parents who'd watched their children transform from withdrawn and anxious to confident and expressive. "I'm going to that meeting," I decided. Michael's eyes widened. "Olivia, that's not a good idea. Amanda will see it as an attack." No, I said, already formulating my plan. I'm not going as Dr. Parker, Lily's aunt, or Amanda's sister-in-law. I'm going as a concerned mental health professional who's been invited by one of the parents. Who would? Michael started, then understanding dawned. Mrs. Thompson. I nodded. Sarah Thompson, mother of one of my most successful patients, had called me earlier warning me about the meeting. Her daughter Emily had gone from selective mutism to speaking confidently in class after 8 months of art therapy. I'm not going to argue or defend myself, I explained. I'm going to let my results speak for themselves, and I'm bringing backup. As Michael left, I started making calls. It was time to show Amanda that my little empire of lies was built on something far more substantial than she realized. Real transformation, real healing, and real lives changed. The next day would either vindicate my work or give Amanda the ammunition she needed to destroy my practice. But I knew one thing for certain. I wouldn't let her prejudice take away the healing space I created for teenagers like Lily, who desperately needed a different way to express their pain. The parent meeting at Amanda's house was packed. I arrived quietly, slipping into a seat at the back beside Sarah Thompson. Amanda stood at the front, armed with PowerPoint slides and printouts about traditional therapy methods. These unconventional practices are putting our children at risk, she declared, not noticing me in the crowd. Real therapy doesn't involve finger painting and doodling. Our kids need proper professional help, not artistic playtime. That's when Sarah Thompson stood up. My daughter Emily would disagree. Amanda faltered slightly. I'm sorry, who? Emily Thompson. Selective mutism for 3 years. Traditional therapy fails her completely. Sarah's voice was clear and confident. Would you like to meet her? Emily walked in from the hallway, followed by 5 other teenagers and their parents, all former or current patients who had agreed to break their anonymity to support the therapy that had changed their lives. Hi, I'm Emily, she said, looking directly at Amanda. Before art therapy, I couldn't speak in public. Dr. Parker helped me find my voice through art first, then words followed. Would you like to see my progress portfolio? One by one, the teenagers shared their stories. Jack, who'd overcome severe PTSD through sculpting. Maya, whose eating disorder improved when she started expressing her feelings through college. Each testimony was accompanied by dated artwork showing clear therapeutic progression. Amanda's face grew increasingly pale. This is clearly staged. No, Mom, it's not. Every head turned. Lily stood in the doorway, clutching her own portfolio. My heart stopped. This wasn't part of the plan. Lily? Amanda whispered. What are you? I'm Dr. Parker's patient. Lily's voice shook but held strong. I've been for 6 months, and I'm getting better, Mom. The anxiety attacks, the panic about perfect grades, the feeling that I'm never good enough. I'm finally learning to handle it. Because of art therapy, because of Aunt Olivia. Amanda sank into a chair, staring at her daughter. But why didn't you tell me? Because of this, Lily gestured at the anti-art therapy presentation. Because you're so sure you know what's best, you never actually listen. The room was silent as Lily opened her portfolio. This was me 6 months ago, she pointed to a dark, chaotic drawing. And this is me last week. The recent piece showed a bright, balanced composition, full of hope and light. The art helps me say things I can't put into words, Lily explained. Like how your pressure for perfection makes me feel. How sometimes I can't breathe thinking about disappointing you. Dr. Parker, Aunt Olivia, she gave me a way to express that safely. I finally stood up, moving to the front of the room. Art therapy isn't about replacing traditional methods, Amanda. It's about providing another pathway to healing. Some people need that alternative path. Amanda looked from Lily's artwork to me, then back to her daughter. Years of competition and resentment warred with the undeniable evidence before her. 6 months, she said quietly. You've been happier these past 6 months. Calmer. I noticed, but I didn't know why. Lily nodded. Because I finally had a safe space to be myself. To be imperfect. The other parents began sharing their own stories. How their children had transformed. How traditional therapy hadn't worked for everyone. How art had opened doors that seemed permanently closed. Amanda stood up abruptly and left the room. I found her in the kitchen, crying. I've been so wrong, she whispered when I entered. So completely wrong. About everything. Not everything, I said gently. You wanted to protect vulnerable people. That's not wrong. Your method of doing it was just misguided. She laughed tearfully. Misguided. I tried to destroy your practice because of my own stupid jealousy, and in the process, I almost ruined my daughter's chance at healing. But you didn't, I reminded her, and now you have a chance to understand her journey better. The aftermath of that meeting transformed more than just Amanda's view of art therapy. Our family dynamic shifted too. Amanda's competitive edge softened as she watched Lily flourish in therapy. She even started attending some family art therapy sessions, learning to express her own feelings through creative means. 6 months later, I received a package at my office. Inside was a beautifully framed piece of art, a collaborative work by Amanda and Lily. It showed two paths merging into one, darkness giving way to light. The card read, "Thank you for showing us another way to heal. Love, Amanda and Lily." I hung it in my waiting room, where it serves as a reminder that sometimes the strongest critics can become the greatest advocates once they open their minds to different possibilities. And Lily? She's now mentoring other teenagers who are just starting their art therapy journey, showing them that there's no single path to healing. Sometimes the most unconventional routes lead to the most profound transformations. My practice continues to grow, not despite Amanda's actions, but partially because of them. Her attempt to discredit art therapy ended up creating a platform for success stories to be heard, bringing more families to explore this healing path. Sometimes the best validation comes from overcoming those who doubt us the most.